In 1985, me and Sir Jam noticed that things started changing.
Things changed around 83, 84, 85. 85 is really when you can really start pinpointing some changes that were taking place that we started to feel.
It was one time they were setting up the equipment. Me and Egyptian Lover was standing outside, but right next to the sports arena. And we just started hearing like broad daylight. Somebody was across the street straight shooting at us. We couldn't hear the shots, we could just see the chips on the wall and you hear the ping, ping.
If you were walking around with your pants sagging, you were talking about blood and crippin', you were ostracized. That shit wasn't cool.
You had the rolling 60s and maybe some other gang members, the 30s, whatever, but mainly the 60s. They would come through there and cause havoc. Now, we don't know how they got in because you knew they was gang members. They khaki, sweatshirt with big rolling 60 on the back of their shirt. You knew who they were, so we trying to figure out who was doing security.
Now, I can tell you that it got to the point and it started to change when people started shooting innocent people.
They had on the news where they found a body and a trash can in the back one time, so Uncle Jam's Army's name started getting kind of tarnished. Like, sports arena, we know it's going to be bombed, but this might happen.
Because we noticed that every time when Uncle Jam's Army did an event, Uncle Jam's Army events was starting to get turned out. And one thing that we noticed that in our dances, a lot of kids started coming. They started pop locking, they started break dancing.
I used to be a pop locker and all that. Then went down to break dancing and then spin on my back, windmilling. And then when they went to the head, that's when I had to give it up because I couldn't go to the real talk. I couldn't go to my head.
Me, myself, I started off popping, like I said. I was 9 years old in 1982. Then I became a b-boy in 1983, 84, so I was breaking. Before I was doing the New York influence of graffiti art, it was the gang culture, the gang writing on the wall. Because you would see the Mexican gang, you would see the black gang.
Also, too, some of these cliques became street tribes. That was very dangerous.
Back in the day, like we was talking about breakdancing era, and that's when the LA City Breakers was doing their thing, and Queen Streets was Breakers. They was the Queen Street Breakers. They was doing they was like one of the best in the city.
Queen Street, they represented their little local area too. But they had their little own popping group, but then I seen them grow into more of a hangout, gang-banging little clique, if I may say.
The Queen Street, they was breakdancers. They was hot too. That was QSB. They was Queen Street Breakers. And then after the breakdancing stuff kind of like died out, and it was just the rap stuff, they kind of started the gang banging. That's when the Queen Streets, it was like the avenues, and it was like the legends.
From 85 to maybe 90, hip hop was still kind of like, you can do a lot of different things with it. But eventually, when certain aspects of hip hop started to become more glamorized, meaning the gangster stuff started to become more glorified, and rest is history.
NWA came after that and just blew it out the box. They just went wild. We used to play them songs all day, every day.
One of the greatest albums I ever heard was Niggas for Life. Point blank. Point blank. So just the synergy of it all was dynamic, and it changed what we know as hip hop forever.
I remember when we was out before NWA got together, and in order for NWA to, when they first broke out, there was a lot of our opening acts at a lot of our shows.
From Skateland USA, Harvard College, Cal State Long Beach, okay? Even if we didn't present them, they was with us. They was hanging around with us.
They went around town. We used to see them on tour, and that was the whole thing, how everybody else was gonna see them. And we heard they were in New York and they tore it down. We was like, okay, we'll finish them now.
Of course, when they blew up, then all of a sudden we didn't see them no more. Their careers went all the way up.
NWA was just straight LA. So when they did it, was like, we all good.
But being that they out here in Hollywood or close to it, they became the template, and acts didn't get signed on the East Coast no more because they wanted NWA.
In LA, we already had it locked down, okay? But only thing that we noticed too was that the music scene in LA, it started changing.
People are galvanized by the music and the social awareness, so we were already aligning ourselves and we was ready for war. And I felt that they countered that with NWA.
If they brought in and allowed NWA, we don't want people to think that NWA had something to do with that agenda.
Not that NWA wasn't rapping about what they were seeing. My question is always, who put these things here for you to see?
They were victims of that, like we were. You understand what I'm saying? So if they seen what was going on, and they sat back in their smoke-filled back rooms and said, now wait a minute, there's a sound that's happening. Let's manipulate the sound. Let's manipulate those groups that are the forefront of that particular vibration, and let's steer and gear it. And let's use it to neutralize these brothers in the East.
So NWA was open the door, and these corporations saw for the first time an opportunity for them to make money. But they was making money on the backs of our brothers and sisters. So that was the dichotomy. When you play chess, it's a move and it's a counter move. And that counter move in NWA, it took years for us to kind of get out of that.